Nationalism in India by Adi Saxena of 10C
and Advaita Saxena of 10D.
Give me blood and I will give you freedom, said Subhash Chandra Bose. Effects of World War I. The war led to a huge increase in defense expenditure. This was financed by war loans and by increasing taxes. Custom duties were raised and income tax was introduced to raise extra revenue. Prices of items increased during the war years. The prices doubled between 1913 and 1918. The common people were the worst sufferers because of price rise. Forced recruitment of rural people in the army was another cause of widespread anger among people. Crop failure in many parts of India resulted in acute shortage of food. Influenza epidemic further aggravated the problem. According to 1921 census,
what is Satyagraha? In January 1915, Mahatma Gandhi returned to India from South Africa and gave the idea of Satyagraha that emphasized the protest based on truth and non-violence.
After arriving in India, Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized Satyagraha movements in various places. In 1916, he traveled to Champaran in Bihar to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. Then in 1917, he organized a Satyagraha to support the peasants of the Kheda district of Gujarat. Affected by crop failure and a plague epidemic, the peasants of Kheda could not pay the revenue and were demanding that revenue collection be relaxed. In 1918, Mahatma Gandhi went to Ahmedabad to organize a Satyagraha movement among cotton mill workers. Rollout Act. This act had been hurriedly passed through the Imperial Legislative Council despite the united opposition of the Indian members. It gave the government enormous powers to repress political activities and allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. On 13 April, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. On that day, a large crowd gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. Some came to protest against the government's new repressive measures. Others had come to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. Being from outside the city, many villagers were unaware of the martial law that had been imposed. Dyer entered the area, blocked the exit points, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds. His object, as he declared later, was to produce a moral effect, to create in the minds of Satyagrahis a feeling of terror and awe. Non-Cooperation Khilafat Movement. The Non-Cooperation Khilafat Movement began in January 1921. Various social groups participated in this movement, each with its own specific aspiration. All of them responded to the call of Swaraj, but the term meant different things to different people. Non-Cooperation Movement. Differing strands within the movement. In towns and cities. The movement started with middle-class participation in the cities. Thousands of students left government-controlled schools and colleges. Headmasters and teachers resigned, and lawyers gave up their legal practice. The council elections were boycotted in most of the provinces except Madras, where the Justice Party, the party of the non-Brahmins, felt that entering the council was one way of gaining power, something that usually only Brahmins had access to. Rebellion in countryside. As the movement spread in 1921, the houses of talukdars and merchants were attacked. Bazaars were looted and grain holds were taken over. In many places, local leaders told peasants that Gandhiji had declared that no taxes were to be paid and land was to be redistributed among the poor. The name of the Mahatma was being invoked to sanction all actions and aspirations. Swaraj by plantation workers. Workers too had their own understanding of Mahatma Gandhi and the notion of Swaraj. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed. It meant retaining a link with the village from which they had come. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission. In fact, they rarely were given such permission. When they heard the non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantations and headed home. They believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. They, however, never reached their destination. Stranded on the way by railway and steamer strike, they were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. Chauri Chaura 1922.
At Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur, a peaceful demonstration in a bazaar turned into a violent clash with the police. Hearing of the incident, Mahatma Gandhi called a halt to the non-cooperation movement.
Simon Commission. Against this background, the new Tory government in Britain constituted a statutory commission under Sir John Simon. Set up in response to the nationalist movement, the commission was to look into the functioning of constitutional system in India and suggest changes. The problem was that commission did not have a single Indian member. They were all British. When the Simon Commission arrived in India in 1928, it was greeted with the slogan, "Go back Simon." All the parties, including the Congress and the Muslim League, participated in the demonstrations.
Dandi March. Mahatma Gandhi started his famous Salt March, accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 240 miles from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati to the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi. The volunteers walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi wherever he stopped, and he told them what he meant by Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. On 6 April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law, manufacturing salt by boiling seawater.
The Salt March marked the beginning of civil disobedience movement.
Different peoples participated. First, rich peasants of communities like the Patidars of Gujarat and the Jats of Uttar Pradesh. Second, poorer peasantry. Third, industrial working classes. Fourth, business class.
The sense of collective belonging. Nationalism spreads when people begin to believe that they are all part of the same nation, when they discover some unity that binds them together. But how did the nation become a reality in the minds of people? How do the people belonging to different communities, regions, or language groups develop a sense of collective belonging? This sense of collective belonging came partly through experience of united struggles. But there were a variety of cultural processes through which nationalism captured people's imagination. History and fiction, folklore and songs, popular prints and symbols all played a part in the making of nationalism. The identity of a nation, as you know, is most often symbolized in a figure or image. This helps create an image with which people can identify the nation. It was in the 20th century, with the growth of nationalism, that the identity of India came visually associated with the image of Bharat Mata. This image was first created by Bankim Chand Chattopadhyay. In the 1870s, he wrote Vande Mataram as a hymn to the motherland. Later, it was included in his novel Anand Mat and is widely sung during the Swadeshi movement in Bengal. Moved by the Swadeshi movement, Abanindranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. In his painting of Bharat Mata is portrayed as an ascetic figure. She is calm, composed, divine and spiritual. In subsequent years, the image of Bharat Mata acquired many different forms, as it is circulated in popular prints and was painted by different artists. Devotion to this mother figure came to be seen as an evidence of one's nationalism.
Thanks by Adya Saxena of class 10C
And Advaita Saxena of class 10D.